going to look at the selection tools now. So I'm going to keep my original transparent that I'm working with. We just finished working with the text tool. I'm going to go ahead and open one of the other images that I had you guys collect. So I'm going to go up to File to Open, and I'm going to navigate to this little clownfish and click Open. And just like we did in the first demo, I can fly or I can dock a particular image. So I'm going to go ahead and fly this particular image, and I'm also going to dock these because I don't need these right now. I'm going to move the layers over. I'm going to explain the layers a little bit. You can tell we're working on the fish because I see the fish. When I click back on my original where I've done the text, you can see that my layers panel does the fit that has a text layer. Let me get my clownfish back, excuse me. I'm going to go ahead and put him on top. And I'm just moving our windows around just for comfort, what you like for them to be. Okay, so we're going to, I look like I moved him back. I'm going to go ahead and dock him while I'm moving this big window back. So I'm going to make a selection tool around the fish. And the top question in Photoshop is, what selection tool do I use? And the answer is, well, whatever tool works best. So this is a rectangular marquee. A rectangular marquee is probably not going to work the best for our fish. Now those are the marching ants, and so to get out of this rectangular marquee tool, I'm going to do a Command or a Shift D, Command or Control D. And even the elliptical marquee is probably not going to get that detail that we want, so I'm going to Command or Control D. This is the second tool down. It's called the lasso tool. This is where you freehand draw around your fish. And gosh, that's better, but look at kind of, ooh, that was kind of tricky. So I'm going to Command D to get out of that again, and I'm going to go to the polygonal lasso to try it. And it goes in straight lines, so maybe not the best option for an organic wildlife object. But I'm going to go ahead and just connect so you can see how they connect into the marching ants. So I'm going to Command or Control D there. I'm going to try this magnetic lasso. The magnetic lasso is awesome where it reads a difference in contrast of colors, but it can get kind of crazy and frustrating. So I am going pretty slow, and every time I want to turn a corner, I add an edit point, and I do that by clicking the mouse. It's hard to hear, my mouse clicks through the video. This works great if you have high contrast in an image, so I've already kind of picked up that black. So I'm going to backspace and then keep going. And that looks pretty darn good. So, and I am now, instead, if I just went and moved my fish over to my new document, it would just be the selection tool. So I have to go get a different tool called the Move tool. Now I have some little scissors that you mean it's going to be cut out. So I'm going to click and drag this little fish until I get a highlight and bring it back down and let go. And now I have a little fish. And I'm going to resize this fish by using my edit menu down to free transform or transform, or use my Command Control T, holding down Shift to make it larger or smaller. I'm going to resize my corners, bring him down a little bit here, hold down Shift while I make it a little larger. Okay, now I have a problem. I need fish on top of the clownfish image itself. Very easy. Going back to this layers panel. The layers panel is the most important part of Photoshop. I think of it like baklava, like layer after layer after layer. And you can't work on one layer if you have a layer on top. So you have to peel those layers away. You can do that a couple things by hiding and showing, or you can reorder the layers, and now I'm working purely on the fish. Now notice my clownfish itself won't move because I'm not on that layer. If I want to move the clownfish or do anything to edit the clownfish, I will then have to go select that particular layer, excuse me. Okay, we're going to come back to our clownfish, and I'm going to Command D, and I'm going to do another selection tool for this. And those tools are underneath where it's called Quick Selection Tool and Magic Wand Tool. I love the Quick Selection Tool and the Magic Wand Tool. Now this has a plus sign, so that means I'm going to be adding pixels. If I toggle to the subtract sign, that would be selecting or subtracting different pixels. I also can do a bracket on my keyboard, right to make it larger, left to make it smaller. So right now I'm going to click on the adding to selection. I'm going to come around with my selection tool, and gosh, that's working pretty well. It just needs to pick up, I'm just picking up a couple extra things. Okay, so now I have a little bit of extra algae there, so what I'm going to do is toggle to the subtract. Then I'm going to make my brush super small, and I'm going to bring it in, and then it looks like I need to add to my selection of my black fin, so I'm going to go to my add selection with my pretty tiny brush and add selection. Hope it looks like I have some sea anemone up there, so I'm going to go back to my subtract, and that looks pretty darn good too. So again, I'm going to come back to my move tool. I'm going to click and drag with my scissors to the fish, Command or Control T, transform, maybe even here. If I want them to go the other way, there's a couple tricks. I can go up to edit, down to transform, and I can go over to my flip, or watch what happens. This should work, and it does, yay. I am just going to move that middle handle around until it does what I would like for it to do. Okay, so now I have used 3 different selection tools to cut out an image, move it to an original composite image. So how this works in your underwater collage, you will open up the background or the ocean that you want to put your objects into. Then you'll go select your scuba diver, select your fish, add your type, and that's what a composite is, simply taking a background and adding different elements to it.